2.2.2 Continuous delivery versus continuous deployment. Clear distinction. In this chapter, we are going to talk about how software travels from a developer's computer all the way to real users, and why continuous delivery and continuous deployment are not the same thing. Imagine this. You and I are working in the same team. We build a web application. Nothing fancy, but important. People log in, see dashboards, manage their data. It matters if it works well. All our code lives in GitHub. GitHub is simply the place where our code has its home. It remembers every change we ever made. If someone breaks something, we can go back. If two people work at the same time, GitHub keeps them organized. It's like a smart notebook that never loses pages. One day you finish a feature, you push it to GitHub. And right at that moment, without anyone saying anything, a silent machine wakes up. We call that machine continuous integration. It's not magic. It's more like a careful colleague who never gets tired and never forgets the checklist. It builds the code. It runs tests. It checks whether we accidentally introduced a bug or a security hole or something fragile. If it finds trouble, it stops and raises its hand. Hey, something is off. If everything is okay, it smiles and goes one step further. It takes our application and packs it into something called a Docker image. Think of that Docker image as a suitcase. Instead of saying, well, it works on my laptop, but maybe not on yours, Docker says, relax. Everything the app needs is already in the suitcase. No matter where we run it, it behaves the same. That suitcase is then stored in a registry, like a warehouse for software. It sits there ready. And here is the key moment. Nothing is live yet. No user has seen anything. The feature is like a plane waiting at the gate, engines ready, but brakes still on. This is exactly where the two worlds split: continuous delivery and continuous deployment. And the difference is not loud. It's not some huge technical wall. It's simply this question: who releases the brakes, a human or the system? Let's walk into one world first. The company we work in deals with banks. Banks hate surprises, they love control, and they want proof. There's another system watching our new version, something like Argo CD. Argo CD talks to Kubernetes. Kubernetes is the thing that actually runs our app on many machines. It decides where the app lives, restarts it if it crashes, creates more copies if more users arrive. Think of it as traffic control for servers. Argo CD looks at our new suitcase and basically says, I know how to put this into production. Everything is prepared. Just give me the word. But nobody gives the word yet. The new version sits in a safe environment, something we call staging. Testers play with it. Product owner reads through what changed. Maybe compliance asks a couple of questions. People think, people discuss, and then one person, an actual human, finally says, okay, now. They press deploy. Argo CD takes over. Kubernetes replaces the old version with the new one. The app keeps running. Users see the feature, maybe without even noticing there was a release at all. That is continuous delivery. The pipeline can go all the way to the door, but a human opens the door. Now, same company few years later. We've grown. The team is stronger. Tests are deeper. Monitoring is everywhere. If something goes wrong, we can roll back in seconds. We trust our pipeline the way pilots trust instruments in a cockpit. So the company asks a brave question. If the system already checks everything, why are we still waiting? Again, you push your code. Again, the robot builds, tests, packages. Again, the suitcase lands in the warehouse. But this time, there is no pause. Argo CD sees the new version, looks at the signals, tests green, security clear, no warnings, and says, all right, I'm going. It pushes the change to production by itself. No meeting and no final approval. No, are we sure? The world simply updates. And to stay safe, we don't expose everything at once. We wrap new features in feature flags, little switches inside the app. We might turn a feature on only for us, then for 5% of users, then for everyone. If something behaves strangely, we flip the switch off, quietly without drama. Users barely notice. That is continuous deployment. The brakes release automatically, because the road is safe. And here's the part that confuses people most. From the outside, both systems look the same. You still hear all the same words: GitHub, Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, Argo CD, monitoring, security scanners. And so everyone assumes they are talking about the same practice. But they're not. The only real difference is incredibly simple and deeply human. In one system, someone says now. In the other system, the pipeline itself says now. Look at it through real life. A bank needs signatures. They need an audit trail. They want to know who approved version 1.5.2 and when. For them, continuous delivery makes perfect sense. Everything is always ready. But release is a decision. A young company that builds a web-based product plays a very different game. Its survival depends on speed. The team fixes something, pushes the code, and minutes later, real users see the result. They experiment, measure what happens, learn quickly, and adjust again. For them, continuous deployment is not risky behavior. It is simply how they stay alive. Both systems are actually trying to create the same thing: a world where releasing software isn't stressful, where you don't spend nights pushing buttons and praying. They just disagree on one tiny detail. Do we still need a human hand on the final switch? Or have we built enough trust to let the machine handle it? And when you see it that way, there's nothing mystical left. It's just an automated highway from code to production, with a gate at the end, or without it. At this point, many interview questions reduce the topic to a simple diagnostic test. If your process still requires a manual approval before production, you are practicing continuous delivery. If the pipeline promotes to production automatically after passing all quality and safety gates, you are practicing continuous deployment. The real competence is not in naming the model, but in explaining why your team chose that model and which risks it is designed to manage. When teams truly understand this distinction, conversations about releases change. They stop sounding like arguments about terminology and start sounding like thoughtful engineering decisions. What are we optimizing for? Becomes a better question than which label should we use. And that is exactly where mature DevOps culture begins. Not in tools, but in clarity. With that foundation in place, we can finally look a little deeper. If every path to production is built around a pipeline, then the next logical question is simple. What exactly happens inside that pipeline? Step by step, from the moment we commit code until it is trusted enough to reach users. In the next chapter, we are going to slow down and walk through that journey in detail. We will look at build pipelines, the stages they are made of, the quality gates that stop bad changes from moving forward, and the validation steps that protect users and the business. End of 2.2.2.